All right, welcome everybody. So we are here today because we are talking about the nominating petition signatures for our New Mexico State House members. We have Representative Liz Thompson today, and in our last session we had Representative Christine Trujillo. So I'm really glad to see our reps joining to see what we're doing in order to get you guys moving. My presentation today is really kind of like Petition 101 because admittedly, when I started working as, I guess doing this even, I realized there was a few things that I didn't even know, and I've managed several campaigns in full. So I'm going to give a 101 presentation, and you may already know 99% of it, but hopefully you leave with some new information. So I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully you guys can see my presentation. Everybody sees my PowerPoint? Mm-hmm. All right, so a lot of candidates are out looking for nominating petition signatures right now, all of our statewide candidates. Oh, we have Laura Montoya, who is running for state treasurer, in her signatures, and the rest of them are due February 1. So they have an all hands on deck chaotic, crazed, maniac effort going on right now. And we are absolutely, to be clear, not in competition with them. In fact, a lot of our petition carriers are carrying Laura's petition and Howie's petition and Maggie's petition and all the other statewide candidates with them, and which is totally great with us. So today's is only about the New Mexico House Democrats, but yeah, just keep in mind, it doesn't mean you can't do both. So a few things. The reason we get petition signatures is because it's required. In order to get your name on the ballot, you have to submit signatures from registered New Mexico Democrats in the district. And the reason we do that is to show that our candidates have sufficient support to run on the ballot. Running for office is expensive for the state, and we need to make sure that we don't have just anybody feeling like they want to run for office and putting their name on the ballot and going through all that effort. State law does not distinguish between new candidates and incumbents for the purposes of nominating procedures. So that means if Representative Thompson was running for the state house, she could have somebody brand new come in and run against her, and they both need the same amount of signatures, assuming they're both Democrats. To run as a state representative, you must gather signatures totaling 3% of the sum of all the votes cast for the party's candidates for governor at the previous gubernatorial primary election. So I can show you just in a moment, but I have a list of each representative and how many signatures each one needs. And keep in mind that it's only for your party. So the Democrats need a certain amount, the Republicans need a certain amount, and the Libertarians need a certain amount. Usually the Libertarians need the bare minimum, which is like 10 or something. The numbers for each district vary widely, but they can range anywhere from 10 up to, actually, I think this year we've got like 179 in Speaker Egolf's district, so even higher than what used to be the highest. And a signer must be a registered Democrat voter in the district listed on the petition. Now, a side note, we have some new districts drawn, of course, after redistricting happened. And so they have to be listed in the district that they're going to be in for the new election. So for instance, we have Representative Figueroa on the line here. And I used to be a Democrat in Representative Hoffman B. Hill's district. After redistricting, I got moved over to Representative Figueroa's district. So now, assuming that I am registered where I live, then I can sign Representative Figueroa's petition now. And if I were to sign Representative Hoffman B. Hill's, it would be invalid and wouldn't count. Signing the petition only indicates that you support that representative appears on the ballot in the primary election in June 22. It does not mean that you have to vote for them. So when you have people saying, you know, I don't know if I want to sign, I don't know who else is running, you can be really clear with them that, you know, it doesn't matter if you sign this, you can vote for someone else if someone else comes in and you like them better. That said, you can only sign one nominating petition per office. So if you sign two petitions, then neither one of them will be counted. And it actually says that on the fine print of the form at the bottom. A little awesome side note is if you have a 17-year-old who will be 18 by the time January 25th, I'm 99% sure is the right date. I'm doubting myself because it's a Tuesday and I think it might be January 24th, but I'll double check. They can sign as well, as long as they'll be 18 by the time that January 24th, 5th date comes by. And you can also register. Oh, so if you have people who are not registered to vote, they can register to vote. Obviously, stopping by their county clerk's office, or the easiest way is to get on nmvote.org and register immediately online. Representative Figueroa, may I call on you?
Yes, Charlotte, thank you. I just had a quick question about signing twice.
Yes, ma'am.
If someone, an appropriate and valid person in my new district, signs a petition for me, and then later a volunteer crosses that door again and they've forgotten that they signed one for me and sign again, does that invalidate them, or only if they sign for two different Democratic candidates?
Correct. Two different candidates will invalidate them. If they sign multiple times, I believe that only one of their signatures will count, and then the other multiple ones will be invalidated.
Thank you. I would hope that only one of their signature counts, but yeah. Thank you very much.
Or else we just keep signing full petition pages. Yeah, that's the correct answer. Yeah. So this is normally what I give to state representatives so that they can fill out their own header, but I figured it'd be good to show you all. Side note, I have a approved form for every district in the state. So if you want to get petition signatures, I can send you a PDF of the correct header so that you don't have to question if yours is correct or not. That said, if you only have blank headers and you just can't find me for some reason, a few things to remember is that in your first blank, it must say Democratic. It cannot say Dem, it cannot say D, it cannot say Demo, whatever. It has to say Democratic. In the second line, it must say the candidate's name as it is registered. So if you don't have the candidate's personal contact information to really double check that that's how their name is shown on their voter registration, you need to find a way to make sure, because that will invalidate the whole page. The address must be where they physically reside. So a lot of times candidates have a PO box for their campaign, which is totally normal and sane because it's a lot of mail that can come in. And if they list the PO box on the top, it's not going to count. It has to be their physical residing address. County cannot be abbreviated. It must say, Bernalillo, not Bern or Bernco. It has to say Bernalillo, Santa Fe instead of SF. And then it must state exactly how I have it written here: New Mexico State Representative District blank, whatever it is. So it can't be like state rep. It can't be NM rep. We've seen a lot of things. And we've also seen one of our state house members removed from the ballot because he had his header incorrectly written on all of his petitions, which is devastating and also a huge learning experience for us. And now we're taking it even more seriously than we already did. So a few best practices: going door to door. For those of you, I guess, probably most of you are in Bernalillo County here today. It's the best option, and it allows you to verify the information on the door, and that they're actually registered Democrats. So the way that works really quickly is we give you a walk list, just like you normally would for campaigns. And you'll know I'm going to 123 Main Street and there lives Joan Baker. If I go knock on 123 Main Street and Bill Thompson answers the door and signs, I can kind of know that's probably not going to be a validated signature. He's nowhere on my list. His name doesn't show up. So unless he just registered like yesterday and his name hasn't come through, then likely that's not going to be a valid signature. And when you have your script, there's a little checkbox for that. It'll say, did you validate, or can you validate their name at the door? You can check yes or no. We will provide you with custom walk lists to make sure that you have the right districts. Right now, Vote Builder gurus, which a couple of you on here are, we don't have the right Vote Builder. Like if you were to pull a walk list for House District 24, for example, you would get the old House District 24. That said, what I have is a list of all of the precincts in the new districts, and I'll show you guys that in a moment. That's how we're pulling lists right now. We're manually pulling by precincts to make sure that we have the right boundaries for the new redistricted state house lines. So we can do those custom walk lists, or if you want to do your own walk lists, you may just give me a call and let's chat for a few minutes on how to do that. Events and locations are not super fruitful unless you're in large rural districts. Parts of CD2, I know, or rather CD3, have like huge flea markets, and those are usually within like one of the giant CD3 house districts. That might be okay. But in Bernalillo County, most people don't know which house district they live in, and they often sign the wrong petition. So if you imagine like you go to Smiths on Tramway and Montgomery, you might get someone from HG 31, you might get someone from HG 30, 28, 27. You never know. There's like 5 districts surrounding one grocery store. So it's just usually ends up to be a waste of time. When you're interacting with voters, I know this is a no-brainer, but just to remind you, politics is super personal. So please remember to respect the opinions of others and just don't argue with voters. If you ever feel uncomfortable for any reason, just walk away. If necessary, you're welcome to alert the authorities. I've probably coordinated the knocking of, I don't know, thousands of doors. And we've only seen that happen 1 or 2 times. So no worries, but don't feel like you have to ask permission to call the police if something bad happens. And if a voter is unwilling to sign the petition, just thank them for their time and move on. We've got lots of opportunities, lots of voters, lots of doors. We do not have to beg for one petition signature. When you're getting the signature, a couple things to remember is that they must sign for themselves. If you have somebody who is completely unable to write legibly for the rest of the information, you can help them. They have to sign for themselves. And just remember, their signature is less likely to count if you complete any of the fields for them. So if somebody gets challenged and somebody's auditing every single signature, they might take one that's not completely all in the same handwriting and throw it out. They have to sign their usual signature. So whatever they usually sign, it has to be their name printed as registered. So if you look at your walk list and it says, a good example is a lot of like, maybe your name is William and you go by Bill. You have to remind him, Bill, remember that you need to sign your name as William H. Hernandez instead of Bill, because that's how it shows up on your voter record. And you'll have your walk list to be able to show him that and refer to. They have to write their address as registered. So if they move, they often write their new address there, or if they, whatever reason they don't match up with the voter address on file, it's not likely to count. So make sure that, and also if they have a PO box, a lot of times voters have a PO box and they want to list that, that's not going to count. It has to be a physical residing address. Bless you. And then the city or zip code is on the last part of the form. Usually in Bernalillo, I like to have them put the zip code because it matches, right? So if you're in the same house district, it's going to say 87109, 87109, 87109. You'll see really easily if someone writes 87111, like, oh, they're probably not in the right district, and that one's not going to count. At common reasons for disqualification, 9 times out of 10, it's just because the name or address doesn't match the voter file, and that's really common. Another one that's actually quite common is that a person's not a registered Democrat. So you might have somebody who's an independent who would rather die than not vote for Liz Thompson for House District, but they're not a registered Democrat. So they can vote for them, but they can't sign their petition if they're an independent. Their signature doesn't match their voter card, can happen. I've actually worked on a campaign where we challenged our opponent because their signatures weren't matching up, and we won. So it is definitely challengeable and can be held up in the court. If they don't fill out the entire row, it's obviously probably not going to count. And remember, again, entire pages of signature can be disqualified if the header is not correct. So my recommendation is to just use the approved petition form that I provide you from the New Mexico House Democrats. A few things, if you do not already know how to look at the new maps, I'm sure knowing all of you on this call, you already do, but just in case, you can go to the New Mexico State Legislative website and click on the Redistricting 2021 quick link. It's right here under quick links, right here. Takes you here. You can click on 2021 plans and you will select House Bill 8. From here, you can zoom in to your district. So we'll just use Representative Thompson as an example because she's on this call. And we zoom, zoom, zoom. And you can get 24 as large as you'd like it. You can even zoom in into the street level and really see where exactly does the line stop, right? And a side note, if you want to click show stats, it'll show you the Democratic propensity in every district. So Representative Thompson is now 54.8, which is quite a swing district. So we need to make sure we get out for her this November. The other thing is, where am I here? The new precincts, if you need a list of the precincts in your district, are located in the House bill on the New Mexico Legis page. So let's see, I will show you that. If you go to legislation and you go to the 2021 second special session, you go to House Bill 8, then it will open up the final version and you can scroll down to see your representative. So Representative District 5, District 6, District 7, all the way, we'll use my new district, for example, District 30, is composed of Bernalillo County precincts, 339, 359, blah, blah, blah. And this is the chaptered bill. So this is the one that you can tell if your precinct does indeed lie in the district. I also have, I've got the district precincts in a spreadsheet, really easily accessible. So if anybody on the call needs your precincts in a list, just let me know. It'll take me 10 seconds to forward it to you. So no problem. The required number of signatures, I also have in a list. So for instance, Representative Thompson has a required number of 94 signatures. We ask the target of at least 150% of that. So she will be looking for 141 signatures at least to be safe by filing date. Signatures are due on filing date, and something to remember is that we just now got their forms. Normally, because of redistricting that really delayed the process, normally we have the forms quite a while before this and we're able to start knocking. All of the legislators will of course be going up to the special session and lose the large majority of time they need to gather signatures. So I'm hoping that the people on this call will help me to coordinate collecting for the representatives while they are working hard up at the session. We need volunteers to gather signatures. We need volunteers to help recruit more volunteers, which helps me with nominating petitions, but more importantly, to my heart, it'll help get their election cycle off, like going with a bang. So a lot of the new district lines drawn has caused some of the representatives to lose some of their best volunteers and move them over to a different district. So if you are willing to help me coordinate volunteers for the representatives, it's an extremely helpful and valuable task that I need. Volunteers to help transcribe signatures onto spreadsheets. I often get, I'll show you, I know I have one from Representative Trujillo. We get signatures, pages texted over to me that look like this. And it's fine. This is my favorite kind. It's on a lovely quilt background. And it shows that they aren't messing around. Just take a picture and send it to me. And I can zoom into these and I can move them over into a spreadsheet. And then later we can validate them as correct or not. I need the super experienced volunteers, which I've got a couple on the call right now, actually, who have vote builder access and experience. I do need a few people in the state to help me validate signatures for candidates. So if anybody wants to work on the critical stuff, let me know. And you can help in districts outside of your own. And we've got like Representative Andrea Romero has like a full-on team that just like knows to get her signatures. Those people, I could definitely use their help once they're done. If you live in her district and you don't need to help her, come help in, somewhere in CD2 where we don't have very many volunteers. You don't have to get in your car. You just have to be able to willing to look at their district numbers instead of your own while you're helping to transcribe, call volunteers, and do those things. So that is all I've got. And I just want to really quickly remind everybody that though nominating petition signatures seem like a small deal, they are the first and most critical role for holding our Democratic majority in the New Mexico State House and all of our elected positions. So please, thank you so much for your help in advance. And yeah, that is all. So I'm going to stop the recording here, but